Okay, time is now 6:30, Monday, December 18th, 2023, Board of Selectmen's meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order by starting with a pledge of allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And this will be our last meeting for the end of year. So that being said, this board would like to wish all those at home and those who are traveling a safe travel. And if we could just have a quick moment of silence for our deployed troops overseas who cannot be home for this holiday season. Thank you. Okay. Manifests 1211 and payroll 1212.
Make a motion to approve the manifest of 1211 and payroll of 1212.
I second.
Okay, motion made by Steve Welch, seconded by Tim DeBrio. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim Gabriel.
I'm Matt Sherlin.
Okay, unanimous. Approved public minutes at 12:04.
I make a motion to approve the public minutes from December 4th.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by
Wait,
Tim.
I'm sorry, I have to abstain on that one,
Yeah.
sorry.
And I would like to just clear as edited.
That's it.
Yeah.
I can't be on the December 4th one.
Did you second it, Matt?
No, I can't be on the December 4th one.
That's right.
I second it.
All right, motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Steve Welch. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim Gabriel.
Matt Sherlin, abstain.
One abstention, okay. Approved non-public minutes from 12:04 and 12:12.
I'll do them separately just because Matt wasn't here for 12:04. I make a motion to approve the non-public minutes from 12:04.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Steve Welch. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim Gabriel.
Matt Sherlin, abstain.
Okay.
And I make a motion to approve the non-public minutes from December 12th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Matt Sherlin. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim Gabriel.
I'm Matt Sherlin.
Okay. Reports from assigned boards and committees. Budget.
I wasn't I came in at the last few minutes of last week's budget committee, but
John Moran was present as the selectman's rep. He's obviously not here tonight, so we went through the proposed budget as we had ended from work session the week prior, and there was a lot of discussion. The three key items that I included in my town administrator's report we can go over because it is budget related. They would like you to take a look at, and I apologize, I don't have copies of the budgets for you tonight, but they wanted you to take a look at three line items. The first one is the highway department's hired equipment construct. It would be line item 265 on your budget worksheet. The amount budgeted originally was 20,000. You had reduced it down to 10,000. I don't think that's the correct line item now that I'm looking at it. They were looking for an additional reduction in that line for 10,000. And then the highway sand and gravel and stone, line 270, 65,000. Year-to-date expenditures were 44,423. That it was carrying forward for the 2024 recommended amount for 65,000. They figured that was an area where you could cut an additional 10,000. And then they urge you to reconsider restoring the $200,000 line item for the subcontracted road maintenance paving into the operating budget.
I didn't get the article,
the $200,000 that the Board of Selectmen had moved from the operating budget potentially over to a warrant article, the Budget Committee would like them to reconsider. I'm sorry?
What they move it for, what would be charged?
The $200,000 for subcontracted road maintenance and paving.
Okay, thank you.
There was a lot of debate about that, and I think there may have been some confusion. They were thinking that that was road maintenance, and that we were gonna be putting the road maintenance out as a separate warrant article. I had to explain to them that the road maintenance is part of the highway department operating budget, and this was just the subcontracted work when we have to rebuild a road or have additional paving done or repaving done. But those were the three key items that they wanted me to take away and present to you for consideration. So it was two $10,000 line item cuts from the highway department, and then to restore the $200,000 into the operating budget somehow.
Do we want to discuss that when we go into your report, or do we want to talk about that now?
We hit the 4%, well, I don't know.
Well, we did, but they want the $200,000 back in there, so that puts us back.
Yeah, but taking $20,000 out and putting in $200,000, the math doesn't work.
Exactly.
I disagree with their recommendations.
And we'd already reduced the line items wrong.
And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the budget worksheet that they were looking at. 'Cause I'm looking at that 265. Maybe I grabbed the wrong line item. It might have been 262. What's line item 262 on the operating budget?
That's mowing.
That's mowing.
We had dropped that to 10.
Okay.
There's no doubt they wanted to drop that, didn't they?
Was it the mowing?
I wasn't here, but yeah, I would venture to say it was mowing.
But in any case, it was $20,000 between those two line items for the reduction in the highway department.
Reducing that, basically another 10,000 down to zero would get rid of the parking lot streets. We would get rid of all the other stuff that we can't do. So that's why we left essentially what we've spent this year back in the budget, knowing that we should be getting rid of greater services and all that other stuff now that we have a crew that can do that. So I don't understand any of that,
Yeah, because we already reduced it from 20 to 10.
which is about what we spent. And we know that grading is gonna be taken over by us. But then all the street sweeping and it says equipment rentals, like, I don't, making that line item zero, like, we still have to do.
It wasn't making it zero. I think it was dropping it down to 10. So I think we may have preliminarily done that.
We did.
So I'll double check as soon as I have the minutes available for review. There was a lot of discussion that took place at the budget meeting, so
Okay,
I think we went until about 10:30 that night. So as soon as I have the draft minutes from that, I'll verify what line item that was. But, so I know line 270 was definitely one of them.
Yep,
They
that's
thought
right.
there could be another $10,000 removed from that. So they will be meeting on the school budget this Thursday at 7 PM, and then going back to the town's budget next Thursday, the 28th, I believe it is.
I would have to, instead of just saying they want us to restore $200,000 back into the budget, they would have to have some form of proposal of how they would offset that. We're at 4% right now. I feel safe with that being a warrant article. I know that they wanna, they're worried that it'll just get shot down, but I feel safe with that.
Steve?
I don't see how you're gonna find 200,000 to cut.
No, not without cutting some major services.
You know, they were looking to cut the
I could,
rec department budget severely.
They would like the rec department to be self-sustaining out of revolving funds.
I don't think that's.
They're not there.
Yeah, they're not there yet. So it's,
Do you think they'll ever be there?
We'd have to see. I mean, they're trying to grow, they're trying to get more people on, and obviously their aftercare program is humongous, which is
Right.
probably one of their biggest things they do, and then their summer program and everything that they do, but
They try to keep everything affordable for the, I mean, they could charge double what they charge for aftercare, but they don't
Correct.
because it's all working families trying to keep
Right.
their kids till 5 at after-school care.
so I mean, it's something we can look at, trying to increase their budget line items a little bit, but
Any more on budget?
So one thing, I would agree with their recommendation on dropping the highway sand and gravel. I think meeting them halfway on that. We spent 44 this year, it's at 65. Dropping it to 55.
were we just concerned about any salt prices or anything like that? I remember.
Salt's a separate line item.
Okay, then I'll agree with
I
that.
think it's just used for like projects, road
Which
projects.
we already cut the salt budget.
But we have enough sand now, right?
Winter sand?
Yes.
Yep, they spent the fall screening it. They're gonna continue screening it as well, as long as the temperatures are mild enough to continue to do so, so they can stockpile it for next year.
Okay.
So I will get clarification on that one line item, and I will report back to you.
Well, and there's no doubt the highway mowing, we've probably spent a fair amount of that budget, because I know they were out mowing just a week or so ago, weren't they?
Well,
We'll
The
probably
road-
be getting,
The roadside mowing, or just mowing? Yeah, that,
Talos was out. Was
Talon,
Talon.
Telco.
right.
I just passed.
Two
it,
machines.
Or this week.
Yep, he's playing catch-up from the fall.
Right.
Yeah.
So it looks like they haven't spent it, but they will have spent it by the time the
Right.
invoices come in.
All right. I think we've beat that one for now.
Anything else on the budget?
Yeah.
Planning? Which would have been John too, right?
I don't think
Yeah.
there was anything big coming up right now. I think it was just a little bit more continuation, but I don't know for sure.
CIP?
We had our meeting last week, it went well, and, I mean, the CIP for right now is fairly straightforward. I think next year, the meetings will start earlier in the year, with the facilities report and start coming up with a plan based upon what the select board wants to do.
And Marston?
Nothing new there.
All right. Town administrator report?
All right. Steve Rollins reached out. He's researched a diesel pump option for the highway garage. This would allow a more viable option other than the Smoke Street pit cube, unless they're working in the area, or the need to otherwise travel out of town to refuel our trucks during the winter road maintenance especially. So the cost for a double wall above ground 500-gallon tank and pump would be $6,200 to purchase, or the system can be rented for $150 a month through Davis Fuels. This is just an option just to keep the trucks running, especially, like I said, during the winter maintenance season. Because when it does come time, I mean, they can prepare, they can get everything set up. When they get done with their maintenance for the night, they can fuel the trucks up and be ready to go, but sometimes when they're running extended shifts, it does make it difficult for them to go out of town or to the Smoke Street pit. So, if this was to be considered, I would recommend this purchase from remaining highway block aid funds that were received in 2022. There's a balance in that right now of $40,337. It can only be used for highway projects. This would be highway related, if you would like to consider it.
I think the problem we got is we moved the tanks off of that site because of the vicinity to the river, so I don't think it's,
But it's a double wall.
This is a double, so that was a single wall, this is a double wall.
I realize that, but it's still, you're fueling vehicles there and spillage, and I'd be cautious. Unless you had a cement pad that you could fill on, that had some kind of containment system.
Yeah, I think similar to when we talked about the one over in Smoke Street, the pit, is figuring out if that can actually be done.
Right.
Does the block grant funds from 2022, do those,
They don't expire.
okay, so we could do some further research and then, okay.
And we have additional block funds coming in
Right.
tonight.
Okay, I mean, I'm for it, but let's get the information, make sure that we're not undoing something that we had to do before, for whatever reason. But it seems smart, I mean, driving all the way down even just to the Lee Circle or back or something like that, it's just. And would we get some sort of bulk discount, because we're buying it straight from the people that we're getting the, for the, is this Davis the same that does the Smoke Street?
No, Hartman.
Okay,
So I would have to, if we purchased the system outright, I don't think it would be an issue just having Hartman fill, and we could probably go on the same bulk pricing that we're receiving for the gasoline and the diesel over at the Smoke Street pit. If we ended up going through the rental option, I think we'd have to purchase the fuels from them, so we'd have to see what kind of pricing plan we fall into on that.
how big are the cubes right now at Smoke Street?
500 gallons.
They're 500 right now. Okay.
So this would be strictly for diesel.
Where were you located?
At the highway garage on Flutter.
Thank you.
So their office/storage trailer is right there, so where will they be putting it?
I think in that same vicinity of where they were, tapping into the same electrical that the pumps were using before. So maybe in that back left corner, I think they'd probably have to relocate one of the,
If you go to that back corner, you're closest to the river.
Could go closer to the road is where I would put it.
closer to the
Right,
road.
I mean, they park their cars there now, they can just park the cars somewhere else and put the cube as far away as possible.
And I'm assuming we'd need additional lighting.
Yes.
Additional lighting.
Yeah.
But if, with that new office space there, you could put a light, there's obviously electricity there, you could put a couple of bright lights over.
All right, well, you're not looking for
All
a
right,
decision
more
tonight.
discussion.
Yeah.
Well, he was hopeful for a decision, but
Yeah,
I think
not
we have more
happening.
questions before we make that. All right, so moving on. Unspent special warrant articles can be encumbered. They're considered non-lapsing for one additional year by voting at a properly noticed meeting held before the end of the fiscal year, for which the amount was budgeted. There are two warrant articles that I recommend you vote to encumber. The first one would be 2023 warrant article number 18 in the amount of $40,000. That's for our property maintenance contract. We have a draft contract in place with a property management company, and that will be in place before the end of the year. So I would like to move those funds forward to have something to work with for next year. Additionally, 2023 warrant article number 11 for the unspent balance of $143,323, and I cut my line too short. This is for the road reconstruction and paving, the subcontracted work. So that's the balance of $400,000 that was raised by warrant article, $200,000 in the operating budget. So this would be the balance in the warrant article that could carry forward to road projects for
Start getting us caught
2024.
up.
And then also talking about encumbrances with a contract signing prior to year end with a property maintenance company. I also suggest you take a look at the line item for the 2023 operating budget under the town hall and other buildings. There's the salary maintenance line item in the amount of $10,000. Obviously, we didn't expend anything out of either of those lines this year, but we have a whole project list that we're asking this company to pick up and hit the ground running as soon as they come on board with us. So I'm looking at this as funds that we can possibly do some buttoning up out back as I get further into my report to talk about other areas that need to be addressed as a priority, so.
So what do you mean by a properly noticed meeting, just like one of
Just a
these regular
yeah,
meetings?
just a regular
And add it
selectmen's
into the,
Under other business.
and it's for the end of the fiscal year,
So our fiscal year is calendar year.
right, but we're at the last meeting.
We are. So that's why I'm asking for you to consider these three options, and if you would like to move forward with encumbering, I would need a vote for you to do so, so I can have it for the auditors.
Gotcha. And that's Charlie over here.
Charlie over here?
In the general, sorry, C?
Yes.
Add encumbrances there? Okay.
So we can hold off until that portion of the meeting. Announcements, the new ambulance arrived last Monday.
Did Chief Curry give any indication if it's in service yet, or?
No.
It was 2 weeks from the 11th to get it, get it all full of equipment, and then they have to have the schedule for the inspection. So it's roughly 2 weeks, so maybe by the end of this week before the holidays.
All right, so we talked about the budget. The next section is the Maple Ridge subdivision is nearing completion. There will be a balanced distribution from the escrow account that was established when that subdivision started. I think the only requirement left to be met is the cisterns need to be painted as required by the fire chief. Mr. Falzone's reached out requesting consideration for the town to accept the subdivision roads as Class 5 town-maintained roads. This would be a 2024 warrant article. The question is do you want it to come in by petition, or will you support it on the 2024 warrant?
Previous roads that were accepted, I believe, came in under petitions such as
petition?
Strawberry.
So I just have to reach out to him and let him know it has been several years since, I think Strawberry Lane was the last one that we were able to find.
So just as a reminder, to let the contractor know that if the residents of that road are going to put up a petition, they have to be present, otherwise it won't go forward.
Okay. So we ran into more issue with our pest infestation here at this building last week. Actually, it was late into the week prior to that, but I met with our project manager from Orkin and their lead service technician on site here last Tuesday. We did a perimeter walk. We walked inside and outside the building. There's evidence of pest presence in this side of the building as well as the police department side, and when I say pest presence, it is rats. They're pretty much running out the mouse issue that we had prior to this. They're going to vamp up their efforts by putting in additional exterior bait stations. I think they're going to actually triple the number that are on the exterior perimeter of this building and the Historical Society, as well as put some in the dilapidated portion out back. So our bait station service is going to increase from monthly to weekly to help with our efforts. There is some exclusionary service that's needed to close up areas where the pests can access the interior of the building. That's mainly over on the police department side. There's been several areas that have been identified where they can actually get up between the vinyl siding as well as out back. They've also chewed through some sheetrock up in above the ceiling tiles between the police department and the town office side. So they're very active. There's presence all above the ceiling tiles. So we're doing the best that we can. In order to do the exclusionary services, Orkin is looking to charge $1,560 to do that. So they'll go in, they'll seal everything up, they'll put some bait just to kind of take care of what may be stuck in those areas. This does not include any buttoning up of the area that's still open up to the back portion of the building. Probably the best bet, the most cost-effective way that we can address that without doing too much renovation out there is to pretty much remove all of the ceiling tile grid framework and all the old insulation that's from like that brick wall forward, and to put up some type of a hardware cloth that will run from pretty much the ceiling up to the roof to keep anything from coming from the dilapidated portion in here, because it's a freeway for them. And by doing that, they're able to get into sections of the building that we don't have access to. So.
Did they give you indication what the root cause is?
Well, we have all of the prime sources. We have shelter. We have a lot of abandoned shelter for them to set up breeding grounds out back. We have water completely surrounding us, and we have a constant food source.
Okay. What did they say about, did you have the dam building inspected?
Yes, so the dam building, we put up some bait stations up there probably I want to say it was early to mid-November, because we actually had seen them running around the parking lot, going under the building or somewhere around through to the dumpster and back. So there were some bait stations put out there. So while they were checking that, they not only found evidence, we actually had a dead one that was inside the bait station to the back right corner. We noticed that the bulkhead access was very open, so they were able to go down into the crawl space under the building. There's evidence of them under the building, as well as we have a, what do they call it? It's a powder post beetle issue that's infiltrating the
Is this-
support
Are
beams
these
in
the
the building.
beams that I'm looking at? The
Yes.
pictures of the beams? And they're saying they're structurally,
Well, there's question about whether they're structurally sound. I did have Dale go down and take a look at it. He didn't see anything. I mean, obviously, you can see what they're doing to the beams.
yeah.
We would probably have to get a structural engineer in there to see if there is any concern. He didn't notice any when he went down there with a flashlight, but he can do a more thorough inspection. What Orkin would like to do is start a treatment program to get them out. It's a powdering that they do, and it would be something that happens in the spring. But we could potentially, if we ignore that, we could have structural issues with that building, and it is on the historical register, so I can, excuse me.
Are we in,
So
is
my
there
house-
such an issue with the building right now? Should we consider closing it?
No. I'm looking at this picture right here. My basement looks exactly like this.
Okay.
This beam next to it has been sistered into it and is actually carrying the weight. The beam with the issue is now just for looks. It does nothing. So this 2x8 or 10 that they put next to it is now the load carrying member, and the beetles aren't going into it. But my 300-year-old house basement looks exactly like
Okay.
this.
All right.
So I think while it is unnerving, I don't think the
Oh,
building
It
is
just
an
seems like
immediate.
it's one thing after another with the buildings here, so.
Correct.
What building were you referring to?
Your historical society,
Basement?
yes.
That's what,
All right, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ellen.
So this is a springtime treatment, so we do have time to sit on this and think about it, and
Because they're not active in the winter, is that what you're saying?
You gotta deal
I think
with
they're
it.
still active, but that's when they recommended that the treatment take place.
Market practice on Tuesdays?
It's like a really fine, it's almost like a talcum powder. It's just a white powder that they leave.
For the
Oh, the rats?
rodents.
$5 a pop.
Okay, moving
I was
forward.
thinking feral cats.
Can we get back on track here?
For the service here, though, do we want to, besides using Orkian or potentially our new contracted, that way? I mean, which way are we spending
As
the
far
money?
as
one way
for
or
the
other?
exclusionary service,
Yep. Because it says this does not include any buttoning up, so basically,
so they'll button up the exterior, it doesn't include the rear, like in between our two buildings.
so the hardware cloth and all that, you're saying?
Yes.
We're gonna have to pick up with,
To do that portion, but as far as the points of access that they've identified over by the police station, they'll take care of all that.
okay.
And that's pretty much what they're gonna do, is they're gonna do a hardware cloth and some caulking, and then, like foam sealing and,
So they don't recommend, like, setting up a bunch of traps first to
they're gonna do
kill.
that as well.
But shouldn't they do that before we button anything up? Because we're gonna have the same problem where the rats are just gonna die in the building because now you've locked them in.
Right.
So it's almost like you need to
Well, I
trap for
think
like
that
3
they,
weeks.
they are gonna put the traps in as well. They are gonna do, the rat traps and the additional bait station, so that's going to happen almost immediately.
Okay.
And then the buttoning up is gonna take some time, and then it's gonna be weather permitting, so if we continue with mild, no snow conditions, then they should be able to get to it relatively quick, but I have to update the monthly service contract with them. Right now, we're paying $110 a month, and to put the additional bait stations and the rat traps in, they want to increase it to $140 a month, so I just have to go through that contract amendment with them.
From the monthly to the weekly?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I say we gotta spend the money. We gotta keep the building that we have now viable and safe working condition, especially for the police department. So we gotta move forward with ending this.
And then just to be on the safe side, we're also having an air quality test conducted in the business, throughout the building, all points, just to make sure that, you know, the air that's being breathed in here by people that are working here, as well as the people visiting, that it's safe. Just with a significant pest issue, I mean,
Yep.
I don't wanna know what we're breathing. So that takes care of the,
We need to do the hearing. 7
yes,
o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Was there anything more on that? Did you want to add to that? Well, no?
My report, we can continue after the public hearing.
I got a little bit of head cold, so it's hard to hear you, Ellen.
We have to do the public hearing for
Yeah.
the highway
Alright.
block grant funds.
Okay. All right, this is in reference to the town's acceptance of unanticipated revenues. Highway block grant aid, portion A, an amount of $47,011.76. This portion is based on the town's mileage of Class 4 and Class 6 highways, as well as population. Second, in the amount of $25,991.17 is a one-time payment for maintenance, construction, or reconstruction of municipality-owned bridges. So, the purpose of this hearing is an opportunity for the public to offer comment on acceptance of these funds. So if there's anybody in the general audience that has any comments related to just this, please come forward now. None? Okay. So you need
A motion to accept.
a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the highway block grant funds from 2023, in the amount of $25,991.17 and $47,011.76.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Matt Sherwin. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Aye, Matt Sherlin.
Unanimous, approved.
You can close the public hearing when you're done.
Okay. Go back to your
My report.
report, please.
If you continue to follow the first and third Monday schedule of each month for your regular select board meetings, both fall on observed holidays in the month of January. Would you like to propose a different day of the week in the first and third weeks of the month, or reschedule for the second and fourth Mondays, or whatever you would like to do? I would just like to call to your attention that the petition warrant articles are due Tuesday, January 9th, and that's the same evening as the public budget hearing. So you could meet on the 8th, but you should probably meet somewhere during that 2nd through 5th
Right.
as well.
For a strictly budget meeting or for a regular scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting?
I don't know what is going to happen after the budget committee's meeting on the 28th. Technically, it is their budget that's being proposed, but I just wanted to put that out there for thoughts if you feel you need to meet prior to that, or if you would be fine meeting on the 8th and the 22nd.
I think we should meet that first week,
Yeah, I agree.
and then keep the 8th for
Our regular
our
business.
regular business. Overflow if we need it to deal with.
So
So
just,
move the two Board of Selectmen meetings to the 8th and the 22nd as proposed on this little red thing, and then have a special meeting earlier that week. I'm not available until Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I should be around.
Well, the budget committee will meet on Thursday, so it'd have to be Wednesday, I
They
would
should,
think.
they should meet, no, they don't. January 4th. They meet January 4th for the school's final proposed budget,
So maybe the 3rd.
Wednesday the 3rd.
I can make it work.
Tim?
I'm checking right now. Yep, that works for me.
Matt?
I'm good. The 3rd.
Time.
Stick with 6:30.
Okay.
Okay, so there'll be a special meeting on Wednesday, January 3rd at 6:30, and then the regular select board meetings will be delayed to January 8th and January 22nd.
Just a reminder, the primary is on the 23rd.
Late night, early morning.
Yep.
Okay.
Just want to make the board aware of that.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else?
The highway crew worked on the aluminum can trailer from the recycling center earlier last week, providing it with some welding repairs, fresh paint, new trailer hitch jack stand, reinforced the hitch on the recycling center's F-350. I gave you some photos. Obviously, we talked about replacing that trailer. Tim got a very competitive quote for an aluminum replacement, but I think at this time, this will suffice our needs until a problem presents itself, and will save us that additional purchase at this time.
What'd you say again? Oh, can or trim?
The can trailer, the aluminum can trailer for the recycling center.
Steel.
That's the existing one. They
I'm sorry, yes, but yeah, tin can.
did a great job.
The soda can trailer.
We repaired the old one.
They moved the metal dumpster.
It's all repaired.
So they came over, checked it, took the wheel off, fixed it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I used it on Saturday. It's great.
Good job. Okay, anything else? No. Action items review from last meeting. Did the veterans tax credits,
Those were approved and acknowledgements went out to the affected property owners. Not only of what happened, but also that the abatements were approved and that they would be seeing a $750 credit applied to their account.
okay, and we had impact fees as well?
The impact fees is in regard to Jean Reed's inquiry. So there was legal correspondence that we discussed in non-public at the last meeting. It's just a matter of compiling a response to him.
Okay. Assessing, doesn't look like there's anything. General business, fund balance policy review.
This policy was adopted in December of 2022. It does not require that you update it, but you should at least review it annually. So that's why it's being provided to you.
We reviewed this in our policy review too, didn't we? Yeah.
What's that page? I don't have that page. What's the top page? I don't have that. Fund balance, I just have the sheet.
Oh, wait. You need the whole thing, the whole policy?
Yes, so there's nothing here. What's that?
Is it in your folder?
In there.
Maybe. Last page.
Found it, sorry. There's other stuff in here, I got it confused. But this is the funds here.
nothing comes into mind. Everything good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Budget warrant article review.
So there is a sheet that looks like this.
Yep.
It's just the list of the warrant articles that we started discussing at the work session with monetary values, and it was, it's based on items that were identified in the CIP plan, as well as some others. This is what I think you should discuss at your meeting on the 3rd.
And really, like this highway department, when it's gonna be potentially broken out, it doesn't change the line item at the bottom, but
Right.
once we get, is Steve working on compiling a list of, because the warrant has to say what streets we're gonna be constructing or,
Paving or resurfacing.
correct?
Did we get an update as to where the library is on that project? For the,
Jen Phillips stopped by the other day, and she said that the $20,000 definitely is not going to do it for the paving. I think phase 2 goes more into
Should be actually work now.
the culvert replacement. So, they're trying to identify where the leach field is to the septic, because the plan that they're working on actually brings it up close to that entrance. So they need, as they're going through the preliminary design phase of it right now, they have a lot of questions that they need to have answered, but the $20,000 definitely is not going to do it for the paving, because they're talking about bringing it down closer to that other dirt parking lot.
and paving that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we had discussed trying to incorporate that into our paving contract for the road maintenance to see if maybe we can get it at a cheaper rate when the time comes, but I think for right now, we're just going to move forward with raising the 20,000 and seeing where that gets them.
Right.
And then there'll
Another
be
year.
additional paving warrant article for the next year when they're ready for it.
Okay.
Like in being the senator, the back, that's still just a complete crapshoot, right? That's,
It's just on there for discussion purposes
okay. So,
as to whether you want to try to move forward with it this year or if it needs
What's that?
the,
Back building,
that line,
partial reno, not complete.
I mean, I think we need to have a warrant article for 2024 to get something done back there. Because the problems you're having right now with pests, it's only gonna get worse, number one.
Correct.
And the health issue that's posing. it's
I'm
only gonna
just
get worse.
looking at the bottom line.
Yeah, no.
Did you, this one, the ones that you have on hold, are they in this bottom total?
yes.
Okay. Subtract the holds. Okay, there it is, right, the police department's there, town buildings. I was looking for it up in the police department.
I'm thinking that we reduce the warrant article for the back building reno, since we have no idea, to maybe 80, but then add an additional warrant article for the building capital reserve fund, because we depleted that this year, right? and there's nothing in here to replenish that.
Right, there's only, I think there's $15,000 remaining in there.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of them getting spent, but I think rebuilding the capital reserve fund is
Which
important.
potentially could go to that if we didn't have other things.
Right.
But I think this past year proved that there needs to be some,
And once they start digging into that,
yes. Should we? Just wonder if we should cut that further down, but we need to have real numbers. We don't know anything.
So how much were you thinking for the building maintenance expendable trust fund?
He thought dropping it down to 80.
yeah, I think at least 40.
40.
How much, well, there wasn't anything put into it last year. It was the year before.
No, we put 90,000 into this
Okay.
year, and we expended almost all of it.
Talking two different things, right?
Two different things.
We
Right.
didn't put anything into the back.
No,
building.
no, I was talking about, yeah,
He was
we're on the same page.
Okay,
She's finishing my half sentences.
okay.
I don't know, what do you guys think?
I agree. I mean, it's just a big number that we don't know anything on, so we need to, when are we gonna start seeing anything from the property maintenance or getting the 3 quotes or getting anybody to look back there to,
As soon as we prioritize the project, once the contract's signed,
when's the contract being signed?
hopefully as early as tomorrow.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations for any of this to just come out of our ARPA funds?
That was what we discussed at the workshop. So I gave you the balances off to the right-hand side. We have $115,951 available from ARPA. It needs to be fully expended by the end of 2024, so that's an option. Obviously, the bridge aid isn't gonna do us any good for any of these proposed warrant articles, but the highway aid, there's 43,777 left from the special aid that we received in '22, plus another $47,011.76 that you accepted tonight. So that's $90,788.76 that can be used toward anything highway related.
So fixing the culvert on Berry Road or Cooper Hill?
Potentially.
That could come out of the
think the
funds that
Kelsey
we're
Road is-
encumbering. If we encumber the funds from this past year, then that's probably something for that. This would be like the fuel tank or
Yeah.
anything too we need to do for. The basketball court, pickleball, could that come out of any of the encumbered funds, or does it have to be road paving, or is it a paving job?
It's subcontracted paving and road reconstruction.
Right. We want to cover it.
That would be a stretch.
Just as subcontracted paving and road reconstruction, so like there's a comma in there, maybe an English comma.
No.
I think that's creative. Probably not allowable.
I was just asking. Yeah, so I guess we just gotta kinda chew on this till the meeting in 2 weeks.
Do you remember anything I might be missing from this list?
So the AV updates, didn't we talk about not,
We did. We talked about holding off.
I mean, I guess,
I left it in there because we kind of did the to be announced on the rec conference room relocation as to whether that's gonna move forward, because it would, if we are gonna move forward with putting a figure to that, and then we should also consider the AV updates, because that's just a matter of, just moving the funds that we have set aside for that.
right.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a warrant article.
And realistically, it wouldn't get done next year anyway. I
Right.
mean,
Right. And then for the few warrant articles that we have, we're adding into capital reserve funds. I think I provided you with the third quarter balances of expendable trust funds and capital reserve funds. Sheet that looks like this.
Yep.
yeah.
So like the 591 or 596 remaining for the fire department building, what is that for? Anything for the fire department building? We already built the building, so what is the remaining $500 in?
I'd have to look at how the capital reserve fund was established too.
Okay. It just seems like that might be, we've talked about the issues like the roof or any of the other items that we've potentially talked about, like it can go towards it, close out the fund. If we're not, instead of just keep tracking stuff. I mean, the recycling center, $92, like what are we doing with that? Just seems like things that should either be just used if we can and then close them out.
Or if you know you have a big capital expenditure coming up, you put money in there and save toward it over the next
Correct.
couple of years.
So the town building maintenance and repairs, this is a balance of 128K plus, I thought we were down to 15 there.
Betsy doesn't do the withdrawal from the trust fund until the year end.
So the
Sorry.
balance really isn't the balance then, so.
Look how excited he is.
This is according to the trustees.
So I mean, the ending balance isn't the ending balance.
No, I guess it's not, is it?
No.
So how do we know what the ending balance is?
I can find out, I'll get a tally from Betsy how much she's going to be withdrawing from the trust funds at the end of the year.
Oh,
We can
there's another
update this
page.
with the year-end statement.
No, it surprised me that the tricentennial fund was 2,747. I thought we had 40,000 in that.
There is, it's in a,
Page, did you turn the page over?
45,000.
Yeah,
50,000 in there.
It's in a CD
okay.
that matured 7/24 of '23. So it was.
I see 429.24.
No.
So it matures in
That's also
April.
tricentennial fund.
She said it matured in 7. I'm just saying.
7/24 is 23, 7/24/23. Does yours not say that?
No, it says 429.24.
That matured up
Oh, yeah, down here.
there.
Tricentennial fund deposit of 40,375. That was from the
Yeah.
CD that matured in July of '23.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And they deposited into a bond. Okay.
So when you have the highway truck up at the top, that shows 75-ish thousand, but then on the back page you have 170,000, so we,
Because we don't have a truck earmarked for replacement or purchase in the next couple of years, they did put it in to yield the
Get a
additional
higher-
interest in the CDs.
copy that. Okay, so the fire rescue fund is actually 300,000, not 113,000.
So the invasive species fund is not at 62,000? Seems like we would have expended that this year.
No, because they used the grant. Because the state funded that 100% this year, but going forward it won't be.
Maybe like
It'll be a
50%,
smaller matching. It's-
45 or 50% or something like that?
50%.
50%?
Up to.
Right. Well, it's their biggest moneymaker, and it's fully invested. I would hope that they would put it as much as they could in it.
Thought we moved the Arthur Fund Trust Fund
It's actually in the folder for signatures tonight. We're filing the Cypress motion with the probate court.
Okay.
Legal has drafted that petition, you just need to sign it tonight, and it will carry forward
Okay.
towards the dissolution.
Are we good to move on, or?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So January 3rd warrant article review.
Yep.
Okay. Encumbrances?
So if we did not encumber, the money would go back to the general fund, but if we encumber, we're using the money forward
Correct.
to continue its use per the warrant article, just trying to do what the people originally wanted with it. Do we have to do each one individually? All right, I'll make a motion to encumber the 2023 warrant article number 18, amount of 40,000 for property maintenance contract, 2023 warrant article number 11 for the unspent balance of 143,323 for contracted road maintenance, and the salary maintenance line item in the amount of $10,000 be used towards the above property maintenance contract.
I second.
Motion made by Matt Sherrill and seconded by Tim DeBrio. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Aye, Matt Sherlin.
Anything else with that? Nothing more with that? Okay. Private road naming. What is this?
Should be a memo from Dale in your packets.
Didn't see that. I don't see it.
I got it.
I see a lot of meeting minutes.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
This is from the meeting I missed here, which is all before.
Is it in your signature folder?
Wait, what's this over here? Nope. Nope. I don't remember seeing anything.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing in the email. Find it?
Yes. This is sent from Dale on December 13th, 23. Memo is to explain an unusual situation. A new home is being built on a new lot on Priest Road. Turns out that all the street numbers are taken. Working with 911, the correct remedy is to name the driveway. I gave the owners their options from pre-approved road names. They have chosen Goldenrod Road. And it's just, again, for those at home, all the numbers on Priest Road have been taken. This is a new lot that was built on Priest Road, so therefore now this individual's road becomes a private road, and it's been, with board approval, will be named Goldenrod Road.
Is that his driveway? I don't know.
The driveway will become a private road.
Oh, okay, is that, that's what you thought? That's cool.
The alternative would be a complete renumbering of.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying that. The complete alternative would be to totally renumber Priest Road, and
But where's the E911?
that would be a headache.
I thought we passed
Can you
the
not
E911.
do an A, B?
Our liaison for it.
That sounds here because of 911, working with 911, the correct remedy would make the driveway a private road. According to what Dale has put in there.
Okay.
So I'm just asking, the E911 thing that we were doing, they're not gonna renumber, I would assume that would truncate or get some more numbers in there once they got to the proper spacing for numbering. 'Cause then,
According to them, all the numbers are used up.
okay. I guess there's not much. we can do
Maybe it's
except
just because of
for
the way,
approve it.
where this house is sitting on that road. but all the numbers have used up. Again, based on what Dale has said.
So we just have to
You have to approve the use of Goldenrod Road
As a name for that.
as a name for that road.
But does that open us up to accepting the driveway as a road?
No, it still remain a private road.
There's a couple of, let's say, private road around.
Does that have to go through ZBA though, to get to, or planning board? No, it's a private road.
What's to keep them from bringing it forward in a warrant petition to make it a town road?
I think you'd have probably about 4,000 voters that would probably say no.
Okay. These are all questions that should be asked, and,
No, I
you know.
agree, but it's gotta benefit the
Yeah.
majority.
The first ones that have
Can't
had,
benefit one family.
Skip would like to say something.
I mean, it's only gonna serve one home. So, I mean, if that's the only way to do it, that's the only way to do it.
Are we convinced that's the only way to do it?
I don't know. Skip, do you have something insightful to say?
The insightful thing is the town used to have some sort of policy as to what roads would be called from the standpoint of, not the name of the road, but road or way or.
This comes from the approved list of town roads. I guess we have a list of them that they were,
And road is not private. I believe.
question.
I just throwing it out.
I like
The
that.
alleged Goldenrod Road, you're saying is not a private?
He's saying using road, instead, it should be
Use
way.
way
if you use
instead of
private
road.
way, and then they'd have to put private road on the sign below it.
Instead of saying like Goldenrod Road, it might be Goldenrod
Way.
Way, Goldenrod
Lane.
Lane.
I don't remember.
Does that specifically say Goldenrod
Road.
Road?
In his memo, it does.
Then we
Because
might-
that was probably what he was in his head.
You wanna put it as way?
Right.
Put it as way? I mean, it's,
Well, I'd rather get further clarification on,
they don't need it immediately, do they?
No.
no?
I think we should probably further clarify before you
yeah.
act on it.
I agree.
Okay. Hearing, we already did that. Action items review for next meeting?
Sounds like private road naming.
Yeah. Any others?
So the next meeting is now the 8th. The diesel option for, have Steve Rollins try to bring back the information for.
I don't know if they'll have it by then.
You should, I mean, it's a couple of weeks. I mean, you should just really, we'll see. And I'd like to get it in as soon as we could.
Yeah, before the winter hits,
Right.
if it ever does.
50-degree weather's gonna only last for so long.
Anything else? So we have private road, diesel, tank. What else?
We might have an answer on Kevin Bassett by after the first of the year. Lamprey Drive.
That would be nice, get them off our dockets.
It's, I don't
It
believe
just
it.
keeps carrying forward.
For the list for the the management company, you mentioned like we need to like prioritize the list. You're hoping you sign a contract. Do we need to have a couple of bullets that we want attacked immediately? Or are you gonna just go through the things that we discussed? Or do we need to have something where we try to prioritize? That always seems to be the issue unless they come up with something, but I mean, it's like the back and then the railings for the recycling center, at least for the,
I was gonna have him initially start with familiarizing with the contract, the service contracts that are in place, the aging of our facilities, the different maintenance systems. Obviously, if something comes up in the interim, if we have an issue, have them deal with that, but
Okay.
just where it is kind of a wonky couple of weeks with the holidays in store, that will at least get them started until the first of the year.
yeah, and obviously trying to get anybody in to at least start getting people to look there and what's gonna be needed to assist the Orkin people to get the, at least the mesh.
You don't want to call on the dogs, huh?
The dogs, I don't know if I dare put anything up there.
They do have like.
I like that.
I thought
They have terrier services, it's kinda crazy, but they'll just go in and these terriers,
Yeah.
100
We'd have to put 'em
160
we'd
rats
have
in
to
2
put 'em in the
hours.
roof.
I just don't know if they get to them.
You know what, I think
They're
it's a
super
great
dogs.
idea.
it
Whether or
was
not the
ingenious.
suspended ceiling can support them, I don't know.
Like I said, we could make it a whole community event. We set up chairs in the parking lot, we just watch the dogs, grab the
Oh.
dogs.
So actually, I missed a whole section of my report on that.
What?
Can I go back to my town administrative
Go ahead.
report real quick? Just in light of the issue that we're experiencing right now, we've had a lot of questions. We have, I know we have one request in right now to use this amongst other facilities after the first of the year for a private event. I am not comfortable subletting the building out at this
I mean,
point,
I
especially
mentioned,
for,
I don't feel comfortable
until
with that
we
either.
know that this is squared away.
Yeah.
Board shares your thought, until
Okay.
we can get this road thing squared away,
Okay, thank you.
And the air quality.
and the air quality, yes.
And then I think the other follow-up item, did you want to formulate a response for about the impact fees? And then we can
Yes,
approve that. Okay.
Okay.
so that will be carried forward as well.
Do we need to wait to do that all the way at the meeting, or can we have that?
No, I can have that ready for you.
Okay. I was saying, it just seems like something we should try to wrap up for the end of the year.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And I do have a need for a non-public.
Any other business? No?
Done?
All right. I will open this up to public comment. Those of you in the crowd who would like to comment, please come up to the table and state your name and address, and also make sure you have signed in as well.
Stephen Soloff, 32 Dollar Dam Road. I want to thank the board. I just want to ask for guidance. Thank the board for their donation of the wood for the bonfire on January 3rd. And
18th.
and your guidance as to, we have a lot of money left over from the 300 celebration. And either some of that be reappropriated or a different way of supporting this called Nottingham, Celebrate Nottingham Committee, so that we can continue to do things like the bonfire and the reading of Declaration of Independence at the old Nottingham School. That's what I'm asking for guidance as to whether you should appropriate it as a line item, should it be a warrant article? I'm just asking some guidance.
I mean, there's
I
still,
believe that'd be a warrant article.
I think that
there's still 50 grand in there, right?
there is, but it was specifically for the 300th anniversary, which is passed. So the question is, do we dissolve that fund and then create a new fund towards Celebrate Nottingham and for what they're trying to do? Or do we seek legal advice and see if we can repurpose the existing account?
Well, personally, I think some of it should go back into the general fund, offset people's taxes, because
It was donations.
they were
raised.
generous enough to give it to us, that some of it should go back to them, and maybe keep some of it in another fund that we could use for celebratory reasons only.
I would assume the bonfire is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
The declaration reading is not exactly I mean,
That's fairly inexpensive, too.
correct.
It's just ways of, they were so successful for the 300th of bringing the community together.
Correct.
I'd like to continue the tradition of community events.
What would cost you money if you wanted to do another fireworks show? But that's
So I actually
entirely
like-
up to.
I like Steve's idea of, if you could figure out how to repurpose, since the money's already there, just put some of it for the Celebrate 300 Nottingham.
So how about we do is just, we'll seek legal advice on this, and then as a board, we'll reapproach it on a meeting and go from there. Does that sound fair enough, Steve?
Yeah, and thank you for your, and again, thank you guys for your support of this. Again, I'm very proud of Nottingham, and anything that we can do to boost the morale of the town and show neat stuff. I want to continue.
I
Thank you,
think
Steve.
right now we're just looking for maybe a couple $100 for hot chocolate. Was that the figure Courtney gave you?
Well, the good news is, we will have, the rec department promises hot chocolate for all of you if you show up.
Steve, if you guys need more wood, there's scrap wood at Marston from the building of the dugouts.
Sweet.
There's 2 piles, one,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, there's one right in front of the front dugouts, and there's one towards the back dugouts.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you.
long as
It's not pressure treated, it is not pressure, it has no nails in it,
That's Tim's.
it's all clean.
Matt, what's your wood?
I got a ton of, pallets
Oh,
to send
great.
off.
Look at that, so it's an all-board bonfire.
That's right.
Thank you, Steve.
Just got rained on.
Don't trip.
All the things got rained on.
My name is Skip Stubbins, 340 Stage Road. First, I'd like to thank you folks for unsealing the minutes from February 27th, 2023. I'm hoping the Part 1 portion of those minutes becomes available at some point in time, since it apparently was a 2-part non-public session. It was a rainy day today. I had really nothing to do, so I came up with the idea to look through the minutes to see when the fire chief was appointed. On the back is basically the spreadsheet of what I found as I was going through the minutes from January 12th, 2015. And when I found that he had been appointed, at some point, I stopped looking for the rest of the year. I don't think he gets appointed twice. So that's what's here. Anyway, here's the deal. I reviewed all the below identified Board of Selectmen minutes on the town's website since January 12th, 2015. To 1, determine when the fire chief was appointed by the BOS. 2, opportunities to appoint the fire chief during their meetings. And 3, how rigid the BOS requirements are for appointing the fire chief. And what I found, the chief was appointed in 2015, 2016, 2017, I'll give you 2019, and 2022. And on the back, you'll see comments here and there that exist as to what some of these things actually tend to mean. 2, the minutes seem to reflect that if an appointment of the fire chief by the BOS was deemed necessary, there was more than ample opportunities to do so. In other words, the fire chief came up in discussion many times during the year. I stopped looking after July. I figured you didn't need a fire chief appointment after the 7th month or 6 months of the year. The review of the minutes indicate that there is no consistent manner to the fire chief appointment. There is no consistent manner or method to appoint the fire chief. There is no consistent method of voting, and there is seemingly no indicator that the appointment is accomplished by the BOS by either a letter stating so or a document placed in the fire chief's personnel folder. Further, these minutes prove that whether you appointed the fire chief or not, the department elected fire chief fulfilled the elected commitment. Please note this is my evaluation of the BOS approved minutes that are posted on the town's website in accordance with NHRSA 91 Alpha. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. I mean, Skip, thank you. Anybody else?
Bob DeRozier, 75 Stage Road. So for 17 years, well, let me back up a bit. It's a long-standing tradition for the Nottingham Fire Department to select their fire chief. And it's a simple process. every December, a sign-up sheet is put on the wall at the firehouse. Anybody that wants to be chief can put their name on it. For 17 years, that's what Jay Vilchuk did. He wanted to be chief. The following month, the regular monthly meeting, there's a vote taken, secret ballot. On-call members get the vote on who they want as chief. The full-time staff doesn't get the vote. So, this past January, that process was followed. The results were sent down here to the town office for the selectmen to appoint him. But something happened. It didn't happen. He didn't get appointed. What happened, it seems like there was already something in the works to prevent him from being chief. Now, my focus right now is on the former interim town administrator. That guy worked for MRI. He was on their payroll, and he was consulting with them as to how to proceed in this case. They were ready to come down here, I think, to take over the fire department. They even had an individual named to come down here. But there's not enough money to get MRI to come in here. But the fact of the matter is, the guy worked for MRI. Doesn't that strike you as being a conflict of interest and why he was pursuing this? You guys are all smart guys, but I think you got bad advice in this case. You guys are smart, but you don't know everything. You have to get advice from the town administrator or the town council, and I think they gave you bad advice. They want this case dismissed on a technicality now. That technicality falls back into your lap because you didn't follow through on appointing him. How is that going to stand up in court? Now, they want to dismiss the case on a technicality. And what happened to the solid evidence you supposedly had that warranted their termination? I don't know. And now it's going to be extended to June. How much longer is this going to drag on? How much more is it going to cost? I would suggest that you advise town council to perhaps start negotiating a out-of-court settlement. Because if I was a betting man, my money would be on Rath, Young, and Picatelli to win this out. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, Doug Bates, 30 Lamprey. A lot of people were very surprised to get a large tax bill this month, and the breakdown of it for the local taxes did not seem to match very well what people had voted for operating budgets and warrant articles. Could the voters get a mathematical breakdown of how these tax rates were calculated?
It's done at the state level, correct? Yeah, I mean,
But how was it done? Could we see the math?
Yes, it should be included in the town report. But we do have a tax rate breakdown that's provided by the Department of Revenue. It breaks down the appropriations as voted, divided by the town's assessed value, and that's how they come up with the mill rate for
Yeah.
the four components being the
there's a
local.
large gap because there's when Nottingham broke away from the SAU, there was the significant funds that came back too late, seemingly on purpose, that made it look like that it decreased or depressed the value for the mid-year taxes, which then when that disappeared caused a pop. So it's like, well, here to here, I don't see how if you look from mid-year to end of year, you're like, oh, I don't see how from the money that we appropriated got to here. The fact is you're also seeing the other funds, the weight of that return disappear as well, is my understanding of why the school seems
Yeah, it
so
was a very big swing there, yeah.
significant. But if you were to have maybe removed that, or if you were to try to draw a straight line, the line for the school, if you go back several tax cycles, is there's just that one depressed value for the mid-year value. And I don't know where the state has that.
Yeah, and your first half tax bill that comes out in July is always based on the prior year's tax rate, half of the prior year tax rate. So whenever you have a difference between the tax rate from one year to the next, you see that additional surge in the second half billing to catch up. So, I mean, in this case, we went from what, $19.11 to
21,
$21.40
something.
something at the top. But I can provide you with that, the documentation that we get from the state that helps it helps show how it calculates for the 4 different aspects of the tax rate itself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We have non-public?
Yes.
All right. All right, folks, this is where we'll close the meeting for this evening, Monday, December 18th, 2023.
Make a motion to move to non-public for,
91A.
non-public for RSA 91A:3A and L.
I'll second.
All right, motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Matt Sherlin. Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
I'm Matt Sherlin.
Okay. Good night, Nottingham.